Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and this is another video. So I've seen how people have misconception of how to develop a product from uh, point A to point B, especially for beginners. So I want to walk you through the process I follow when I try to create something, and maybe this process can help you to uh, get your project off the ground and get started. So the way I like to do any sort of project is to find a designer, and this design is going to create a design within Figma, so preferably. You can use any software you want. It can be XD, Adobe XD, or it can be Figma. Those are the two main software you can use to design and develop your project. So the first step is to come up with the visuals. So what do I mean by visuals? So most of the time you don't, you have an idea, but you don't know how this idea will look like, or you don't know where the button will be, or you don't know where the files will be located, and so on. If you try to do this within your mindset, with just without drafting them to the screen, it is going to take you twice or triple time that it will take you when you have start with the design. So the first step is to have the design implemented in Adobe XD or Figma. Uh, I I recommend using the Figma because it has the web version, which means that you don't have to install any software at all. You can have the Figma link and open it anywhere you have the link in browser. So the first step is to have this design. You can see that this demo application I'm having, let's say that I'm building the software for news. So the first thing is to come up with these visuals. For example, I'll be having the screen where people will be able to log in, and it will have the details of like what happened if the user doesn't have the email and try to log in. All those details can be added to the design visuals. So this is going to help the designer, I mean, the software engineer who is going to design, take these visuals to code base, be able to understand what are the expectations and what are the limitations. So this is what we call in software engineering scopes. So scope is really important in designing softwares because in software engineering, you have a lot of options. You have a lot of solutions that you can implement. If you don't limit those options, then the mindset is going to start playing, those ideas into actions, and let's say, let me give you a simple example. Let's say that this button, you can see that is looking red. So there is a reason behind making this button look the way it is looking with the color red. You can see that the background have the background image. It has some red image with it. So you can see that with this red button is working better with this button. So imagine if you don't have these details and you try to figure out what is going to be this button color. So you may spend like 3 hours trying to figure out what is going to be the color of this button. But because you already know the button is red and there's no discussion further to decide which color is going to be this button, then it's going to be easier for you to move faster, and you are not going to waste any time deciding which color of this button. So the same with other ideas. So you will not have any more effort wasted on deciding those small details, which is going to take you much more time. So another things that I like when you start with the design you have clarity of your thoughts. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is that sometimes you don't have the options to think when you are implementing. So when you are implementing, you are focusing basically on uh, how you can achieve the result. So imagine if you are trying to achieve the result and you don't even know the result you want to achieve. So that is the second point why you need visuals before starting designing your software. So you can see that we can have all the visuals, all the UI in Figma, and you have all the details of how everything would be implemented, the colors and everything. So once you finished taking these visuals into codes, it can be that you are using Flutter, or it can be you're using JavaScript and HTML. So it doesn't matter what you use. So the next step is just to take those design. So I see a lot of mistake people make, especially new developers, is that they develop the design and also implement the design at the same time. People really have tried this option and they take a lot of time to implement and develop the entire software, because most of the time you try to figure out the design. They also try to figure out the backend logic that is going to run the design. So I recommend that most of the time, start with the design, have the discussion enough to figure out what is wrong with the design, and take those decisions into consideration and make sure that the designing part is done. The, then the next step is that you hand the design in code to a developer that is going to hook it to the backend. In some organization, you will find this developer the same, to be the same person, because it doesn't make really much more sense, especially uh, when you are a small company having limited resources. This job can be done by one person who is going to turn these visuals into design. And also after doing that, uh, hook it to the backend. But the reason why they separate these people is just to speed up the development time. Because most of the time when one person is doing this task, what happens is that because he already knows that this job is going to be done by him, he may be trapped in designing and also hooking up the backend, which is really not acceptable in software engineering. So I created this video to share my experience creating software, and maybe this video can help you if you're creating a startup and you don't know where to start and how you can organize your project from start to the end. So I hope this video really helps you to understand how the software engineering cycle that you should be taking in order to develop faster and reach to the market as faster as you can. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you like my video, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, and also share my video to your friends, family, and like it, and because it helps the YouTube algorithm to show this video to a lot of people that they might be interested in. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much. See you next time.